Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we sift through the noise to bring you the signal. Today, we're embarking on quite a fascinating journey into the world of Japanese BL drama. That's boys' love, of course, a genre focusing on romance between male characters. And specifically, we're unpacking a series that's gotten a lot of praise for its elegance and emotional depth. When it rains, it pours, or Futtara do Buri in Japan. Our mission today, looking at reviews, fan discussions, cultural takes, is basically to figure out what makes this series tick. You know, its key insights, the emotional journeys, the unique storytelling, especially this really powerful central motif it uses.
Yeah, and this one, it's really a masterclass in subtlety, I think, and introspection. It takes a premise that sounds maybe simple. Two guys, unfulfilling relationships, they connect, but it elevates it. The writing is incredibly poignant, and there's this almost dreamy feeling of serendipity throughout. So we'll be looking at how it builds this really detailed emotional landscape, lots of unspoken desire, vulnerability, and ultimately how it uses its story tools to maybe challenge how we think about intimacy and connection.
Absolutely. Okay, let's set the scene, the characters. Both start off kind of trapped in these emotional dry spells, you could call them. So first there's Kazuaki Hagiwara, played by Jun Muto, who's got this really magnetic presence. He's a salesman, right? 3-year relationship with his girlfriend, Kaori, male technician. And look, they get along fine on the surface. But the big issue, their relationship is totally sexless. Kaori just, over time, lost interest in physical intimacy, which leaves Hagiwara feeling incredibly frustrated, unfulfilled, kind of invisible, actually, in that part of his life. Muto really nails that simmering yearning, sometimes just with a look, a quiet sigh.
And then you have Sei Nakarai. He lives with his best friend, Kazuaki Fujisawa. Fujisawa was this famous product designer, and he was a huge support for Sei after Sei lost his parents, tragically. So Sei, understandably, fell hard for Fujisawa, deeply in love. And Fujisawa promised to stay by his side forever. Big word, that. Yet he completely refuses any physical intimacy. Just keeps turning down Sei's advances again and again. Sei works in business administration, played by Asahi Ito, who gives this really solid, quite enigmatic performance. You feel that quiet longing.
What's really striking here, isn't it, is how their situations are almost perfect mirrors. Both stuck in these, deeply unfulfilling relationships. Partners are devoted, caring, sure. But that physical intimacy, completely missing. And this creates this intense, undercurrent of sexual frustration, right? And it just deeply repressed desires for both of them.
Definitely. And the drama captures Sei's heartache so well with that one line. I think it's from the source material.
Oh, yeah.
The word forever means being gently rejected forever. It's such a gut punch. It really captures that, existential dread of loving someone who's always just out of reach.
And it connects directly to Hagiwara's own quiet desperation, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's fascinating how the series sets up this parallel emotional vacuum right from the start, even before they properly connect. Though it's worth mentioning, some critiques do point out that while Hagiwara and Sei are drawn so carefully, their partners, Kaori and Fujisawa, sometimes feel a bit underdeveloped.
Ah, okay. Like obstacles more than characters.
Sort of. They often function as catalysts for the main guy's journey, maybe not fully fleshed out with their own clear motivations. I mean, episode 6 gives Kaori a really important scene. You get her perspective on intimacy a bit more, which is great. But Fujisawa's reasons for refusal, they stay kind of hazy, leave some viewers wanting more, maybe a bit frustrated.
Right. That raises a good question, doesn't it? How much do we need to know about the other people in a love story to really get behind the main characters?
Exactly. It's a valid point about focus.
And that focus really sharpens with the event that sparks their connection. It's almost funny how it starts. The whole plot turns on this wonderfully mundane but totally pivotal accident. Yeah. Hagiwara's just, absentmindedly trying to email himself some restaurant options.
Yeah, classic mistake.
Gets one digit wrong in the email address, sends it to the wrong Kazuaki.
Which, of course, turns out to be Sei's address.
Incredible. And from that first kind of polite, awkward exchange, their emails just blossom into this really comfortable, honest back and forth. It feels so natural, even though they're strangers, like old school pen pals.
What's fascinating here, I think, is how the show uses this very modern thing, the accidental email, to symbolize something deeper. It's like this digital space becomes a safe haven where vulnerability can actually emerge. Anonymously at first.
Good point. A place for those repressed desires to surface.
Exactly. And as they email more, they start confiding about their relationships, their struggles, and the parallels just become shockingly clear. Hagiwara's situation with Kaori, Sei's constant rejection by Fujisawa, It's uncanny.
They must have felt like they found the only other person on Earth who understood.
Pretty much. The writing really cleverly reveals how similar their plights are just through their shared words and feelings. It feels almost fated.
And then comes the twist. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Go on.
Unbeknownst to them, they're actually co-workers. Same company.
No way.
Yeah. Hagiwara's in sales, Sei's in business admin. They see each other around the office, probably exchange pleasantries,
Oh, wow.
but have absolutely no idea that this colleague is the person they're pouring their hearts out to online.
That's brilliant. What a great narrative device.
Right. It just ramps up the tension, that slow burn feeling, this invisible thread connecting them in both worlds. The dramatic irony is fantastic.
Yeah. Fan discussions often point to that specific setup as a huge strength of the drama. Critics praise how it handles that dual identity thing, using subtle glances, shared moments at work.
Foreshadowing the reveal.
Exactly. It's not just about the shock value. It's about how that dual interaction lets their bond grow organically in different ways, shows different sides of them. And it makes you think, doesn't it? About, real life. How many potential connections do we just walk past every day because we're only seeing the surface?
That's a really powerful thought. And it kind of sets the stage perfectly for the next phase, right? The real downpour of emotions as the plot moves forward and their intimacy starts building. Their anonymous emails get more intense. They're sharing deeper stuff about their partners, the intimacy issues. It's compelling watching these hidden feelings bubble up. Then, episode 3. Big moment for Sei. He tries again, right? Tries to initiate sex with Fujisawa.
Yeah, heartbreaking scene.
And gets rejected. Again. The pain he shares with Hagiwara, his anonymous email buddy, is just raw.
And Hagiwara gets it. He knows exactly how that feels. That shared pain is powerful.
Then later, pure coincidence, they bump into each other at work, but it's a day off.
Right.
And suddenly it starts raining.
Yeah.
Hard. They end up taking shelter together in a museum.
That scene.
Yeah.
The direction there is just beautiful. Quiet tension, unspoken feelings. You can almost feel the recognition dawning.
Oh, definitely. The cinematography in that museum scene, really worth noting. They use this soft, diffused light, maybe slightly longer takes. It creates this contemplative, almost dreamlike feel.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And the rain outside, it's like another character. It makes this cozy, private little bubble for them, visually mirroring the safety they found in their emails. It's a really smart directorial choice, using the environment like that.
So then, episode 4, the penny finally drops. They figure out who the other person is.
Awkward.
Super awkward, but also kind of cathartic, And it's Hagiwara who steps up, suggests they keep talking honestly over a meal, chooses connection over pulling back.
That takes courage, definitely. Then, episode 5.
Yeah.
Hagiwara gets another crushing rejection from Kaori. It's really low. Calls Sei during this massive downpour. They meet at a hotel, and their intimacy deepens. Emotionally, physically, it's this huge release, but also built on all that trust they developed.
A major turning point.
Absolutely. And it leads to Kaori leaving Hagiwara. The consequences start.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where the real emotional fallout hits. Things get messy. Beautifully, humanly messy. Their relationships with Kaori and Fujisawa start to unravel.
Right.
You see Sei thinking about moving away with Fujisawa, maybe to Kamakura, like a desperate attempt to run from these new feelings for Hagiwara. Cling to what's familiar, even if it's unfulfilling.
That makes sense psychologically.
Their partners confront them. There's this really painful bit where Sei initially reacts coldly to Hagiwara, almost defensively.
Ouch.
Yeah, it hurts Hagiwara deeply. Shows how complex desire and fear can be, right? They don't always line up. But ultimately, Hagiwara makes the tough call. Breaks up with Kaori, shows he's serious about finding something real. And the resolution, it's handled quite elegantly. Sei finds out something important.
Oh, what's that?
That Hagiwara had actually helped him in the past. Just a small act of kindness, but it hits Sei hard.
Okay.
Makes him finally drop his guard. He reaches out.
Yeah.
And they have this final reunion. Beautifully set, symbolically, in the rain again. Brings it all full circle.
Nice symmetry.
It is. But it's also where that critique about the repressed romance comes in.
Oh, right. The payoff.
Yeah. The series is a fantastic slow burn, all longing and restraint. But some viewers felt that intimate hotel scene, after all that build-up,
Felt a bit tame.
exactly, maybe lacked the explosive passion they expected from a story about finally expressing those deep desires. Felt, like you said, maybe more like a drizzle than the emotional downpour they'd been anticipating.
That's a really interesting point, especially given the emotional weight leading up to it. But speaking of downpours, That brings us right to the heart of this drama. The title's genius, really. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The rain motif. It's so much more than just weather in When It Rains, It Pours,
Yeah.
Futtara Doshibori. The title itself is key to unlocking all the symbolism, right?
Absolutely. The rain motif is incredibly rich here. Works on like several different layers. First, you got hidden emotions and longing. That pervasive rain you often see maybe through windows, in city shots. It directly mirrors Hagiwara and Sei's inner lives.
Okay.
They're stuck in these emotionally dry relationships, right?
Yeah.
Metaphorically parched for intimacy, both emotional and physical. For Sei, the rain kind of reflects his quiet, melancholic vibe, all that pent-up frustration and desire he hides so well. For Hagiwara, his frustration, sexual and emotional, it literally builds like storm clouds inside him. And those rain scenes often happen right when his emotions are peaking or being released. You see it in Muto's eyes. Then secondly, rain consistently marks the biggest turning points, the key moments of connection.
Like the museum scene.
Exactly. Their first real conversation after the reveal, sheltering from a literal storm. The rain forces them together, sure, but it also creates this temporary, intimate space, a refuge.
Right.
And that huge scene in episode 5 when they finally get together, it's happening during a massive downpour, almost cathartic. The storm outside mirrors the storm inside them, the feelings they can't hold back anymore. The weather is reflecting their inner state.
Wow. Okay, and the third layer.
And thirdly, maybe most poignantly, rain acts as a symbol of cleansing and new beginnings.
Like washing away the past.
Precisely. In Japanese culture, rain often carries that meaning. Rebirth. Making way for the new. So as Hagiwara and Sei slowly break free from those old, suffocating relationships, their final reunion in the rain, it beautifully symbolizes a fresh start, free from past burdens.
A clean slate.
Exactly. There's even that Japanese proverb, right? After the rain, the ground hardens.
Meaning adversity strengthens you.
It fits their journey perfectly, their individual struggles, the difficult breakups. That was the rain. Challenging, yes, but it ultimately forged this incredibly strong foundation for their real connection. And what's so clever about the title Futtara Doshiburi, when it rains, it pours.
You mentioned it subverts the idiom.
Totally. Normally it means bad luck piling up, right? One misfortune after another.
Yeah.
But for Kazuaki and Sei, the downpour isn't bad luck at all. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
It's this overwhelming rush of genuine love, validation, the abundance of everything they were missing.
Yeah. So the downpour is the good stuff finally arriving.
Exactly. It's their true feelings, their connection, the love they find. It reclaims the phrase turning negativity into this huge positive affirmation.
That's a fantastic insight.
Yeah.
Really deepens the appreciation. It's a beautifully told story. So much skill in creating that emotional, introspective journey. They really take their time building those intricate emotional arcs for Hagiwara and Sei. Makes them so easy to root for.
Wow.
And the acting, smooth all around. Junmuto, his presence, he conveys so much internally, doesn't he? Those micro expressions.
He really does, that controlled frustration and desire.
And Asahi Ito brings this quiet, almost ethereal intensity to Sei. Makes him feel so sensitive, so enigmatic.
And the look of the show supports that too.
Oh, the cinematography,
Yeah.
That subdued artistry, cool colors, those long, lingering shots, especially in the city, creates that melancholic, yearning mood perfectly.
Yes, the visual storytelling is definitely key. The way they use light and shadow, especially indoors, creates this sense of isolation sometimes, even when they're together. Mirrors their inner struggles. But while the strengths are clear, the leads, the artistry, we did touch on those critiques earlier.
Right, the underdeveloped partners.
Yeah, and also that point about the finale. Beyond the partners feeling a bit like plot devices. Some viewers, after all that intense longing, felt the ending. While technically happy they get together, maybe lacked a certain spark.
Like it fizzled a bit.
Kinda. Some described it as lacking excitement. After all that emotional storm, the final reunion felt, for them, more like a drizzle than a downpour of passionate resolution.
Yeah, it's always interesting hearing those different takes. Nuanced critiques add perspective to a story we enjoy. But ultimately, when it rains, it pours. It's just this incredible journey, isn't it? Self-discovery, that amazing serendipitous connection, finding real intimacy despite all the initial pain and repression. It really invites you, the audience, to think about quiet feelings, unspoken things. So what does this all mean for us, maybe navigating our own lives?
Well, maybe it means reflecting on how powerful those unseen forces can be, an accidental email, recurring weather like rain, acting like an invisible thread connecting people who are meant to find each other.
Like fate, almost.
Or perhaps it's more about the courage it takes to actually confront those repressed desires, those
Mm.
unfulfilling relationships in our own lives, and thinking about how facing that difficulty might ultimately lead to something more authentic. That overwhelming rush of genuine love and validation that maybe we all crave on some level. It makes me wonder, what stands out to you when you think about that contrast between the really slow burn longing the show does so well and the explosive passion maybe we expect more often in stories? It really makes you think about different kinds of fulfillment, doesn't it? And maybe, just maybe, encourages us to look for love in the quieter moments too, even when the world outside is pouring down.